orbital platform. Welcome back to the last custom card stream for the February batch. My name is GoldenNova, the lore laureate, the explaining expert, coming at you from the orbital platform where we are beaming that dueling goodness to you 24/7, except when we are not. We've got 3 batches of cards to look at today, and then I'm taking a big nap. I know normally we've been trying to do the big 4-hour long streams. It's Sunday. I'm taking a little bit of a break. This is my happy, fun time hanging out with all of you until I go take a big old nap, because tomorrow is Monday, and Monday means work. How are we doing, chat, everyone? I'm seeing Idolatry, Bonnie, King Rex Raptor, Bone King, the 130th, the 129 previously, could not stand in this Bone King's way, and Noble Winter. I'm doing pretty good, because now I get to look at some people's sweet creations. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut this here music. And we're going to boost the audio back up a bit. Okay, there we go. Dinah, how's it going? Nova time. It's Nova time! It's Nova time! Alrighty, and let's go ahead and head on over to the guest comms section. And it looks like our first presenter is already raring to go. Hello there.
What's up? I tried something dumb today.
Oh, those are some of my favorite words. What kind of dumb stuff are we talking about?
So you know how I've had an entire month to make art for these cards? I only started making the art for this batch of cards. When did I send you the things? What was it, 6 hours ago?
So 6 hours?
Approximately.
Bold decision.
I got one done, as you can clearly see.
I do love the little trash can looking token.
He's a little morphed satellite, but I was also rushing everything.
and like I know that with the theme that the burning engines are about, obviously this is some kind of like module or something, but it is giving I was laid out on the curb last night and I'm waiting for someone to pick up my innards. But I think it's cute.
That is the point of it.
So good, you accomplished your mission.
Yeah. I just finished the model for the main guy here, but I haven't been able to pose him or take pictures of him right before it's like, wake up, the stream is starting. Oh, shit.
Fart. All right, well, hopefully I will get to see your creations in the future, at least on the Blender end. For now, it's time to see what all these are about in the card end. It's time for another update to the burning engines. That's right, one of my favorite custom themes that have shown up over the past couple of months. I'm so glad we have another installment. Is there anything you want to catch the audience up on before we get this timer started?
I wanted to clarify something that I saw in the last stream. You see how it's all limited to 1 and limited to 2? That's not how limited they are in the card game. That is just which wave they come from.
Ooh, clever usage of that. Now, will there be a third wave?
Yes.
Will we just leave them unlimited, or do we have another way around that?
It will be unlimited.
Alrighty. Sorry, go ahead.
Also, erratas have been given to some previous cards. The field spell, specifically.
Alright, so what have we changed about the field spell?
You can only special summon monsters of different original names.
Good. Good thinking there.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember having a few, I don't know if problem's the right word, structural concerns about the game.
Expressions of that there should be more warning labels is how I would put it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. That's a pretty good way to put it. Alrighty. Well, let me go ahead and get that timer started, and we will begin with Burning Engine Tom, a level 8 Fire Pyro monster with 200 attack and defense. If you control no monsters or only Burning Engine monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. During your main phase, you can add a Burning Engine trap card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Then, if you added a card with this effect, you can special summon a Burning Engine token to the field, which is a level 1 fire, pyro, 200 attack and defense. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. So, this seems to be bolstering the new trap card lineup that we just got.
Yep, and the normal monster is just my version of a token card.
Yeah, so this wouldn't actually be a printed card, but we have utilized tokens, so this is what it would represent.
Yes, though I'm going with the Albaz version of a token card where it has lore text.
Which we need to be doing more often.
Yes, we do. We don't need reminders that, yes, this can be used as any other token. We want lore!
God damn it! What do you think we play Yu-Gi-Oh! For? The gameplay? No. That's why you printed Snake Eyes, to get people to stop doing that shit.
I was about to make that joke.
Well, good. I'm glad we're on the save wavelength. Deck made entirely of level 1. Okay, not entirely. In fact, only the token is a level 1 fire monster. Never mind, we're safe.
For now.
For now. Speaking of which, the Burning Engine token is a small little robot powered by the engine flame of Tom. Ian believes that they could be used for a greater purpose than just being cute. Alex believes only Ian is only speaking for that AI that is always on his hip. Oh, so we're bringing some artificial intelligence into the mix.
Yeah, if I didn't know how to show off this portion through art, even with my jank art, so it's like, throw it on some lore text.
Hey, I call that efficient storytelling. Alrighty. Next up is Burning Engine Tomahawk, a level 7 fire pyro ritual monster with 2450 attack and 2800 defense. You can ritual summon this card with a Burning Engine card. Your opponent cannot affect or attack other Burning Engine cards you control with less flame counters on them than this card. As a quick effect, place flame counters on this card for each Burning Engine card you control with different original names. During your main phase, you can place a flame counter on each Burning Engine token you control. Then if you placed at least one counter, you can add a Burning Engine ritual monster or a Burning Engine ritual spell from your deck to your hand. You can only use each of the previous effects of this card once per turn. During your turn, as a quick effect, remove a flame counter from this card to special summon a Burning Engine token, which we've already covered, to your field. And that effect specifically does not have any limitations, so as long as you have flame counters, you can summon a token off this.
Yes, which it's really hard to find a card with specific restrictions on previous effects, but not future effects on the card.
Yeah, something tells me that there's cards like you can only use the preceding effects once per turn, but I couldn't tell you specifically.
Vendreads.
There we go.
Vendreads mention their future effects are once per turn, but not the previous ones. And I was looking for previous because I only wanted the one effect to basically be unlimited.
Got it. All right, so that I'm aware of how this card is supposed to function, we summon this, and we want to put as many flame counters on it as possible, because as long as it has more counters on it than our other Burning Engines, they're basically towers.
Other things are towers.
Yeah, not Tomahawk, but every other Burning Engine.
Yeah, the best way I can put it is he's standing in front of all the other ones while he has the biggest flame.
Yeah, they're running interference for everyone else.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, so that's one effect. It can gain a bunch of counters really quickly as long as you have an established field, so there's no issue getting to that point. It can put a flame counter on everything you control.
Not everything you control, only the tokens.
Right, okay, so you put on the tokens. And then if you do that, you get to search one of the ritual cards for your theme as well. And then as many times as you want, you can trade in one of those counters for a token.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry, that's a lot of stuff on there, and that seems pretty powerful, so I'm glad I've got that center squared.
Yeah, because I'll be honest about this design thing. Alex was originally meant to be the boss monster, the first ritual monster, and I gave them not many effects. Then I was coming up with Tomahawk and wanted to relate it to the story, and realized no, Tomahawk is the boss monster.
And they read like it. Good grief.
Yep.
Alrighty. Next, we have Burning Engine Comet Barrage, a normal trap card that places 3 flame counters on one face-up card. Then you can destroy up to 3 cards on your opponent's field. During your turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard. All face-up cards on the field gain a flame counter. Then your opponent takes 200 damage for each card on the field with a flame counter. You can only use this effect of this card once per turn. Wow. So this is a 1 for 3 with upside. And it doesn't have any archetypal restriction.
It's flame counters.
Oh yeah, it places flame counters, but it doesn't eat flame counters. So we could play this in like anything. That's
True.
powerful.
Okay, this might need an errata because this is the signature move of Tomahawk. So I might give a restriction that you need to control a ritual monster, but it being generic also just kind of makes sense because I'm sending over Discord the big patrons chat what Tomahawk and the trash can look like. Tomahawk has 3 giant missiles on him of his namesake, and those are meant to be the barrage thing of just he fires off the 3 rockets at first, and then the burn damage is those rockets exploding in space and sending just shrapnel everywhere.
Whee! It's a big old meteor shower of junk that will also destroy you, because space junk is dangerous.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a comet barrage.
Whoa! Okay,
but also
really
the restriction
quickly.
on the trap for the burn damage is it only counts the cards, not the number of counters. So you can't OTK with it.
Yeah, you can't like put 10 on a single creature and deal 3,000 damage. You have to spread them out to get the effect on, or to get more damage on that.
Yep.
All right, here's Tomahawk, folks. Enjoy. I love the little furnace thing he's got going on.
And if you know what a quintesson is from Transformers, his face is like that, of where it can shift between different motions.
Oh my god, I didn't know what that word meant at all, but I know exactly who you're talking about because Transformers Armada was one of the ones that I grew up with, and that's like, I forget what it's called, but that big boss guy does that.
Guilty or innocent.
Oh. Okay. Next up is Burning Engine Imbued Metal, a continuous trap card that makes Burning Engine monsters you control unaffected by your opponent's cards that are in their hand, grave, or banishment. If you want to affect these things, they gotta be on the field now. All tokens of ritual monsters you control gain attack and defense equal to their own level times 100, and increase their levels for each flame counter on themselves. Once per turn, you can remove all flame counters from non-Burning Engine cards your opponent controls to special summon a Burning Engine token to your field and place flame counters on it equal to how many counters you removed from your opponent's cards for this effect. Okay, so we have what amounts to like a protection effect that tells your opponent that hand traps aren't going to do nothing on top of any kind of
hand traps, grave, banishment, nothing.
None of that stuff.
You want to touch him, you have to not be a coward.
You gotta meet us on the field of battle, which is only a little ironic considering we're in space and we have no field, but just go with it.
So flavor-wise, I personally saw it as that they are unaffected by those things because they can see everything around them coming because they're in space.
So they gotta get close enough to where they can't like predictively intercept things that are that far out.
Mm-hmm.
I dig. Okay, so it does that. It makes our tokens stronger.
And ritual monsters.
And ritual monsters. And like the attack boost for the tokens doesn't seem that relevant because even if we get them, I guess it doesn't max out their level, huh? So I guess it doesn't have a hard cap on there. But we would need a lot of counters on a single token to actually make it battle ready, I think. But the rituals, that they're gonna be bonkers right out of the gate, right? Like Tomahawk without any counters goes to 3150. That scales out of control. Alexandrite is 2600.
Well, here's the part you got to remember. With no hard ones per turns on the ritual summoning, if you can put a bunch of flame counters on something, it increases the level. And then if you tribute that, you get more flame counters on the thing that you ritual summon because its level was higher than its original. And then it keeps gaining, 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 gaining.
Right, okay. So for everyone who wasn't here for the last time we did Burning Engines, and this is also reminding me about how the ritual spell integrates into this. The idea of the ritual spell is that it breaks the normal ritual rules where once you have enough levels, you have to quit. You can't put in more levels than you're supposed to. Across multiple monsters. But Burning Engine Starbirth encourages you to shovel in as many monsters as possible to create excess flame counters. So, yeah, as you said, the more flame counters you get, the higher level you get, which means more levels in excess, which means more flame counters. Holy cow. Thank you for reminding me. I would not have remembered that interaction.
It's been a month.
And I appreciate you accommodating me on that. Alrighty. Our last
Now for the broken card.
Alright. Oh, now it's broken.
Yes.
Alright. Now we have Burning Engine Unstoppable Embers, a counter trap card that you can activate when a spell card, trap card, or monster effect is activated while you control a Burning Engine monster. Negate the activation, and if you do, place that card at the bottom of your opponent's deck. If you control a monster with a flame counter on it, you can activate this card from your hand by removing all flame counters from a card you control. Okay, I think we're on different wavelengths here, because this seems incredibly reasonable. Like, for a non-theme counter trap, it plays with the mechanic. I guess there's no hard ones per turn on this, like things like Orchest Crescendo does, but, like, it's an Omni Negate that you get to stop something with. I think it's fine.
And I told this to one of my buddies who constantly beats me at tournaments with his Snake Eye deck because he's Mr. Moneybags. And he said that this card was broken because it doesn't destroy the card it negates. It places it at the bottom, which is a horrible fate. And you can activate it from hand. And since it's counter trap, it will usually cut off chains.
Yeah, no. That makes sense. But, like, we've been experimenting with cards that do that for a while now. Like I said, Orchest Climax banishes the card when you negate it. Which, well, is not as bad as being put on the bottom of the deck, because, you know, that's about as I'm not seeing you this duel ever again as it gets. But this just feels like a payoff for playing a deck with the funny counters. I mean, I'm not saying it's not strong. I think this is a great thing to have. I'm just not saying, like, you know, it's certainly not my monsters are all towers except for this one, which just so happens to be a gigantic monster now.
All right. Now, did you want to hear the art for the trap cards since I wasn't able to make it this month?
Please.
So the first one, Comet Barrage, is just Tomahawk standing in an action pose as all three of his missiles detach from him, coming at the camera.
Yeah.
Imbued Metal is meant to show him using his core from that little chest thing he has to imbue both a token and Alex to fight an unseen threat. And Unstoppable Embers is meant to show how he protects the others by putting up a massive flame wall to stop what appears like a lightning strike in space.
Uh-oh. Which I'm sure has nothing to do with the mysterious figure.
Which mysterious figure?
You're right. What was that? What am I saying? Well, that's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. And I just want to say schedule thing for next month. This next month, you'll be getting the third wave of the Burning Engine, and then it's going to possibly have a 2-month hiatus before picking up again with Konami style updates.
Ooh.
Of where an archetype is released in full at once, and then is given a little bit of support later down the line.
To sell more of those delicious packs. Mmm.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, then I shall go ahead and move on to the Nova scale, unless there's any last minute things we got to pick up here.
Oh, the human forms aren't getting art. I tried that, didn't work.
Okay. Sorry, human forms. It's just not your time.
Yeah, to make a person is really complicated unless I pay $5, but I'm a cheapskate.
Alrighty, so novelty. This kind of piggybacks off of the burning engine idea from last time. I think the ritual deck that uses counters that wants to burn excess material to get that resource, I think is a pretty cool angle to build the deck around. And we've actually built upon it this time by using the imbued metal effect to give us more levels in tandem with our counters. Aside from that, I think it's about business as usual, but considering you're building off of an old design document that you built yourself, I think this is still a 5 in novelty. This stuff is still pretty fresh to me. Objectivity. Thank God we fixed the field spell, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about these ones. And, as I said, I wouldn't dock any points from Embers. I think that's fine. Imbued Metal, I think, is strong. It's kind of floodgatey insofar as it makes your opponent's interaction in certain zones not work against you, but it's one of those floodgates that doesn't stop you from doing your own thing. It stops you from interacting with your opponent in a particular way, which I think isn't like... I think that's fine. I think that's okay. Engine Tom is just like a big dude. Helps you get stuff. Gives you lots of levels. Seems great to me. Yeah. Tomahawk and Comet Barrage are a little scary. Specifically Comet Barrage, because like we said, this card just blows up a bunch of cards, and then the flame counters are just like regular. Like as any deck could run this. With the advent of transaction rollback, if we finally ever get rid of the Mayakashi Shiranui trap card and we're looking for other things to activate off of that, this is probably going to be one of the go-to cards for a free, just blast your opponent's board.
Can I say errata now, then? You must control a burning engine ritual monster to activate the following effect.
Then that would be a lot more reasonable. God, you know what's funny, though, about that?
Mm-hmm.
While it does mean we can't just set it and activate it, no matter what restrictions we put on the activation requirement for Comet Barrage, transaction rollback doesn't care.
Then never mind. Just keep it as is.
Yeah, because transaction rollback just copies the effect. It doesn't copy any activation requirements or costs. So, but, you know, nothing can stop that. Transaction rollback is just a goofy card, and I don't know why they printed that. Tomahawk doesn't have any inherent protections, and outside of imbued metal and embers, I don't think Tomahawk has anything that keeps itself safe.
That might be what you consider thematic.
So that's good. Like, as far as this category is concerned, that means that it keeps everything else safe, but it's something that can be dealt with general removal, as long as you don't have any other counterplay to keep it safe. We had a card that made a whole bunch of counters last time around, right?
Express Embers. It just places 4 on a monster. It's the quick play.
Okay, that just makes 4. Okay,
and right,
Field Spell generates a whole bunch of counters, but that's only for itself. And Tomahawk can only remove flame counters from itself, so... It's like...
And also, Ember Express from the grave can be banished to double the amount of counters.
Right, so that's a lot of tokens that we get off of Tomahawk. What worries me about token generators is, of course, the uh link climbing aspect, right? Like if you
Wait,
use Express Embers on Tomahawk, it gets 4 counters. That could now it does get rid of the protection effect on everything because you're spending all those counters,
oh,
but
I knew it. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. So when I was making Tomahawk, it accidentally got deleted because my power went out, and I had
uh-huh.
to basically remake the card from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go off of bullet points I remembered. I remembered there's a restriction that's supposed to be on the last effect. There is a restriction on it. You can
Okay.
only summon burning engine monsters for the rest of the turn.
Okay, that fixes. That does a lot
I
to
knew
fix
there was
that.
something missing, but I was looking at it at that massive ball of text and going, I hope I got everything.
I hope it's all put together. Okay, in that scenario, then that's better because then it just gives you tokens that you can use as a receptacle for counters on there. So that's not as busted. So, I think a foreign objectivity to cover uh the problem solving card text is good just to cover how outrageous Comet Barrage could end up being.
Yeah.
Versatility. Now, because of that, I think a lot of decks are going to have a lot of fun with Comet Barrage, so a lot of decks might play that one in particular. Um, I also wouldn't be surprised if Burning Engine Tom also led to a lot of splashes. As long as you have no monsters, you just summon this. It gets you the Burning Engine Trap card, and it gets you a token. So, off the bat, you get the monster, you get the search, and then you get an additional token, which you can either use to continue doing Burning Engine stuff, or if you've teched in any other like fire stuff, you can just link those two off into, I don't know, Hita or something. Um, so that's lends itself to being used in a lot of decks. Comet Barrage is already pretty spicy. The other two, not quite as much. Imbued Metal and Unstoppable Embers. That's largely focused on us, though. With a Burning Engine monster that searches its own counter trap, as long as you get that other counter on your board, because you can play this from hand, you get a counter trap to deal with your opponent very, very early. So I would actually give this a 3 in versatility. There's a lot of wacky decks that can make use of these kinds of cards.
Hmm.
And then awesomeness, folks. It's giant space stations that punch big. They're mechas. I love the concept. I've got to give it a 5. So it's a 5 in awesomeness. So this is 17 for me on these ones.
1 point better than last time.
Hey, we're growing.
Yeah. Though, unfortunately, they aren't themselves space station. They are just made from the wreckage of space stations. I can see where the confusion comes from, though.
But that makes them cooler.
Well, would you like a potential spoiler and what the character designs are based on?
Oh, I'm thirsty for spoilers.
Yeah, because I also want to hear what lore you can think of, but also it's only 2 waves. Not much has been shown.
All right.
It's during the 3rd wave that some homework will have to be done. So Alex, it's a Fantastic Four situation. They were all given powers in the middle of space. Alex was in a rocket at the time, and so her form is built from a rocket and a bunch of satellites that were around her. Tom was in a space station uh, when it happened, and he merged with the space station. Originally, he was meant to have a more steampunk pipe look to him, but I made him in a single day, and he's a bunch of cubes now. But he's also the most refined and forged out of all of them because he built his own body.
Okay.
And then Ian originally was supposed to be a reference to cosmonauts and specifically Sputnik, but his is the most fragmented because he was in just a ship that can't really be told what it was anymore.
A ship that can't be told what it was anymore?
Yeah, like Alex, you can still see the remnants of the rockets and the satellites that's made from them. From Tom, you can see that he's forged. But when you see Ian, you'll see what I mean by he almost looks broken.
Oh, okay, so just beyond recognition, none of the parts give away anything that it might have been.
Yep.
Okay, alright. I'm intrigued. You have my interest.
That's the plan.
Alright, so we have a series of spacefaring people who have, because of cosmic circumstances, fused with the material that they once used to voyage through the stars. There's a mysterious entity that they're fighting against, who I have to assume is the origin of this strange cosmic event. And so they're now using that power to fight against this creature, looking to sow chaos across the cosmos.
I asked you to look at my lore, not the Draco Slayer lore, Nova.
Okay, all right, you got me. Okay, I'm just copy pasting everything that I'm saying in another video.
Yeah, you need to be looking at the Fallen of Albaz lore for mine, and I do mean that because I realized this only after I came up. It's like, all right, there's got to be Alex, there's got to be Tom, and there's going to be Ian, and then it's like, hold on, visually and kind of what they do in story kind of falls under a couple people. We have Alex is Kit and Eccles, kind of. Then there's Tom, who's just Sargus in like design and personality. And then the third one, oh, I guess I'm not allowed to say that part. That'd be giving my hand a bit too early.
Oh, now you're getting conservative about the spoilers, huh? All right, keep your.
I have always been conservative, but I know when to place some breadcrumbs.
All right, very well. Keep your secrets.
All right, all right, and hopefully everyone else will enjoy the rest of the stream.
All right.
I'm gonna go
Hey,
finish some art.
I think they've enjoyed it very much so far because of your excellent craftsmanship. Thank you very much for sharing them, and have yourself a good day. All right. They're already gone. I was too suave. Alrighty. We go ahead and head over to our next page here. While I thank the Crimson Strom, thank you so much for your patience here. You have caught us in the last day of the custom card review special, where I make sure that all my patrons get a little spotlight to talk about their particular creations. So I wanted to make sure that they got that moment. But the Crimson Strom, thank you for showing up here. Hope you enjoy your time here at the Orbital platform. And might I say, excellent choice of color. Red and its many variations are, of course, the best color. Alrighty, let's go ahead and which I know seems like heresy considering I'm GoldenNova, but you know, they didn't make a red medal, so I had to go to the next one, you know. The next coolest one. Alrighty, next up we have Rebel King Lucifer. Rebel King Lucifer. Whenever you are ready, I believe I am all set up on this end. Oh, I gotta reset the Nova scale. Hello!
Me! No!
I always forget. I never remember.
Good.
How's
That
it?
makes it worse every time.
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Got some bad news.
Uh-oh, what's
The
up?
sky's falling.
What?
Yeah, the
Oh
sky's
my
falling. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my god, my friend Chicken Little was right. I canceled him on Twitter over that. I thought he was being an asshole. Oh no.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, the sky's falling, and it's all because of aliens. Who would have guessed?
I thought it would have been the government. Maybe the
I thought
government
so
is
too.
aliens.
Maybe.
No. Too much? Too much? Okay.
I always figured lizard people, but you know.
Alrighty, so it looks like we have our next deck build pack, the Stand Up Braves. Or no, it's part 3 of that deck build pack, rather.
Yes.
Alrighty.
And
Well,
we get the third and final archetype in the deck build pack, and well, we'll see. Well, I'd say it's not necessarily complete, but hey, we got room for stuff here. I've been cooking with this.
Well, I can't wait to get a taste of that cooking. It's time for the Gravidias. First up, we have Neatness Meteor Shower. That's a name.
It is a name.
This card is always treated as a meteorite card. You can have up to 12 copies of this card in your deck. You can only use the first effect of this card twice per turn. If this card is sent to the grave by card effect, gain 200 life points for each Neatness Meteor Shower in your graveyard. Then if it was sent to the graveyard by the effect of a Gravidia card, you can either draw a card or target a Gravidia monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. If this card is banished from the grave, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls. So you never actually want to activate this card.
Nope, never. It does nothing.
It does nothing, yet you want to play 12 of them in your deck. Huh.
Something like that.
Well,
Well,
can't
you
wait to
wanna
see
play
how
one of
that
them.
develops.
Hmm.
Next up is
Ooh.
Gravidia Dellen, a level 3 Dark Galaxy Ride monster with 1200 attack and 600 defense. If this card is stacked underneath a Gravidia Ride monster as a quick effect, you can pay 600 life points to special summon a Gravidia monster from your deck in attack position, except a copy of this card. And if this card is sent to the grave or banished by a card effect, you can target a Gravidia monster in your graveyard, except a copy of this card, and special summon it.
Indeed.
So we stack, get a Gravidia, and then at some point we detach the material for an effect. I assume it'll be detached per an effect. That way we can get the additional Gravidia special summon from the graveyard.
Yeah, that's a way to do it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm digging. I'm seeing where we're going at so far. Alright, Gravidia Wells, level 4 Dark Galaxy Ride monster with 1400 attack and 1000 defense. You can only use the second and third effect of this card once per turn. First effect, you can special summon this card from your hand or deck at the start of your standby phase by stacking it on top of one level 4 or lower Galaxy monster you control. If this card is special summoned to effect, you can excavate the top 7 cards of your deck to add an excavated Galaxy monster to your hand. Send all excavated spell cards to the grave. Also, after that, shuffle the rest back into the deck. And during damage step, when this card battles an opponent's monster while you control Gravidia Nordlinger, you can pay 600 life points to discard up to 2 cards, and if you do, this card gains 600 attack for each until the end of this turn. Okay, I'm starting to see how this particular worm turns. So we
Yeah.
we ride this on top of Dellen. That gets us a free monster. And then Wells, I'm not going to say mills us 7, but is going to dig us pretty deep. We grab any Galaxy monster, and then we take all of the Neatness Meteor Showers, shunt them into the grave, and then get a whole bunch of value out of them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, as you might be able to imagine, this has interesting interactions, or like how this all works has interesting interactions compared to how it actually works in Vanguard.
Oh, I
'Cause,
can't wait to see how that
yeah.
correlates. All right.
Yeah.
Next is Gravidia Berenger, a level 6 Dark Galaxy Ride monster with 2400 attack and 1400 defense. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. 1, you can special summon this card from your hand or deck at the start of your standby phase by stacking it on top of one Gravidia Wells you control. 2, if this card is normal or special summoned while you have 2 or more normal spells with the same name in your graveyard, you can draw a card, then discard a card. And then 3, if you have 5 or more spells with the same name in your graveyard, this card gains 500 attack and defense, making it pretty big.
Indeed. Very chunky.
Chonker. Okay, so this one, not quite as powerful of an enabler as Wells is, but the draw discard is an effect, so we could vent more spells that way. And then, of course, once we get 5 of our neatnesses in the spell card, this gets big. Pretty neat. I dig. Okay. Now we have the card mentioned previously, Gravidia Nordlinger, a level 8 Dark Galaxy Fusion Ride monster with 2800 attack and 1800 defense, requiring 3 Gravidia monsters as material. You can only use the first and second effect of this card once per turn. It must first be special summoned or special summoned from the extra deck at the start of your standby phase by stacking it on top of one Gravidia Behringer you control with 2 or more cards stacked underneath it. If this card is fusion summoned, you can pay 600 life points to send up to 2 normal spells from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So that's if we hard make it. If we ride this, then we don't get that.
Yeah.
And if this card attacks an opponent's monster, you can banish any number of meteorite normal spells from your graveyard to apply the following effects in sequence based on the number of spells banished to activate this effect. With 1 or more, if this card gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. With 3 or more, this turn any battle damage it inflicts to your opponent is doubled. And 5 or more, for the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or the effects of cards when your Galaxy monster attacks or in response to your Galaxy monster's effect activations. Woof.
Yeah, here's your payoff. And it's payoff, all right. So
Yeah.
so a bit of a bit of fun facts here. So in sort of the original the original form of this, right? In Vanguard, right? Nordlinger is literally like the only time, or like the first time when technically you're proccing those meteor effects due to just how Yu-Gi-Oh works, right? That just comes online a lot earlier with Wells.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, things just get funnier as a result. But yeah. So now to also to elaborate on the burning question I left everyone on last month. 1 rock, 3 rock, or 5 rock. The answer is shrug. It depends on what turn what your turn's looking like. Because realistically, you don't need to dump 5 every time. Right. So like 5 is when you just 5 is just when you know that you can when you can win. It's your win more button. A lot of the time you'll probably be doing like 1 or 3, but
Yeah, honestly, it feels like 3 is optimal most of the time just to close things out. So, no,
yeah.
I think that's a very good assessment of that. Alrighty. And thankfully, we have plenty of time left on the clock. So, unless you have any objections, I'm going to start running through these so we can see more of these Gravidias.
Alrighty.
Awesome. Really quickly, thank you, Ronan Omoikane, for following here on the Orbital platform. Hope you enjoy your stay. Next up, we have a Gravidia Baku Burrito. This card is making me hungry. It's a level 6 Dark Galaxy Fusion monster with 2500 attack and 1500 defense, requiring a Galaxy monster and a Dark monster as material. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. First effect, when this card is fusion summoned, you can pay 600 life points to return up to 2 meteorite spell cards from your banishment to the graveyard. If an opponent's monsters was sent from the field to the grave this turn, while you control this monster, you can activate this effect. This card gains 500 attack until the end of this turn. Then if 3 or more of your opponent's monsters are sent from the field to the grave this turn, draw a card.
Yeah, little extra payoff for when you're hitting your Nordlinger turns. You know.
Nordlinger. Did we have removal effects? Does the meteor? Yeah, if it's banished, you just okay. There we go. That's it.
Yeah.
Banish with Nordlinger, get the pop.
Yeah.
Oh god, the first effect has a hard twice per turn, but the more meteors you banish, the more you get to destroy. That does not have a cap. Holy heck. Okay.
Yeah.
Gravidia Medlar, a level 4 Dark Galaxy monster with 1700 attack and 800 defense. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. First effect gains 100 attack and defense for each meteorite normal spell in your graveyard. And 2, during your main phase, you can pay 600 life points. Then target the galaxy monster you control with the highest level or rank. Oh god, we're getting Xyz monster. Oh wait, we might have Xyz monsters? No, that's a different thing. Maybe a different galaxy archetype will get Xyz monsters. But that, you pick that one, your choice of tide. Send a meteorite normal spell from your hand and or deck to the graveyard for every 2 of the targeted monster's level or ranks. Ooh.
Yeah. So I guess I can allude to this. So in future reveals of support for this archetype, Nordlinger may get a glow up, and might make that an Xyz. You never know.
Seeing this thing get even more powerful and mouthy is a little scary. But also, I can't look away. Alright. Gravidia Shurgo is a level 5 Dark Galaxy monster with 1700 attack and 1900 defense. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. First effect, if you control a Galaxy Fusion monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. 2, you can send 2 cards from your hand and or field to the graveyard, then target up to 5 meteorite normal spells in your banishment, minimum 1. Shuffle all of them into the deck, and if you do, draw a card. And if you do that, apply the following effects in sequence based on the number of spells shuffled into the deck by this effect. 1 or more, this card gains 500 attack until the end of this turn, then you can banish a spell or trap card on the field. 3 or more, this card gains 500 attack until the end of the turn, then you can banish 1 monster on the field. And if you shuffle back 5, this card also gains another 500 attack, and if it does, you draw another card.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like once we get the Fusion and Shurgo, the optimal amount to banish is always 5.
Yeah, 5 becomes a little bit more viable.
Yeah.
You have reason to drop 5.
Yeah, seems pretty good, considering it turns into, I guess it doesn't matter what the attack stat is in main phase 2, but that's a 3200 Pot of Greed that hits 2 cards.
Yeah.
Sick. I'm living for it. I'm here. I'm down. Oh, now what is this? Falling Hell Hazard. This card is always treated as a meteorite card. That's nice. If you would banish this card to activate your Gravidia monster effects, it can be treated as either 1 or 2 cards, which I presume, since if you count it as 2, it would be 2 of the same card, so that would fit that requirement.
Yes.
If this card is sent to the grave by a card effect, you can banish this card, then target 2 spell and trap cards your opponent controls, and destroy them. Okay.
Yeah. So you gotta something that you have some background removal if you don't necessarily need to double up on rocks. But hey, if you don't need to do that, hey, you have 2 free rocks.
You have 2 free rocks. All right, and the last one on our list here, Gravidia Fusion, a continuous spell card. Once per turn, you can fusion summon a Gravidia Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. If there are 3 or more spells with the same name as each other in your graveyard and or banishment, you can also banish a galaxy monster from your deck or graveyard as material. And each time a spell card is sent to the graveyard, burn your opponent for 100 damage for each. Well, that seems pretty useful.
Sure does.
So we finally have our regular fusion effect, so we can get out Nordlinger without having to use the right effect, if we don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Once we develop our game plan, it's a little bit of a... I guess Shaddoll Fusion isn't the right way to put it. It's more like Mutant Fusion, because it banishes the material from the same place, so it gets to do that. And then it just sets up damage because, of course, time in the round is a fickle thing.
It really is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a fantastic series of outer creatures. I can't wait to see how these measure up. Really quickly, are there any last words or anything else that we need to keep in mind before we move on to the Nova scale?
Let's see. Well, I guess to kind of just talk about the elephant in the room. So this, for obvious reasons, kind of gets a little awkward because we have to sort of assume we live in a timeline where Konami were not a bunch of cowards and gave us the Galaxy type in the TCG and OCG.
Yeah.
Um, and or all of the Galaxy monsters in Rush Duel were just ported over here, right? So we have to live in that weird timeline. In which case, there's, I can't necessarily say immediately like what crazy things come about from this.
Yeah, because
Like there's any number of things.
I'm certainly not familiar enough with the Galaxy typing in that game to tell if this is going to bust those wide open.
Closest thing I can imagine is like some theoretical shenanigans with like Void Vulgar because that's like Dark Galaxy specific. But who knows?
Yeah,
Like I
that would
said, we
definitely be the theme.
this has to kind of operate in weird assumptions.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, I know that everyone in my audience is very familiar with the Rush metagame, so if that were to cause any issues, I'm sure you'll all tell me in chat, in the comments, in my email box directly. But I'm going to go off on the assumption that these don't pair with anything in regular Yu-Gi-Oh! And we're going to move on to the Nova scale. So, novelty. Uh, First up, just being a type that doesn't exist in the regular TCG is already big ups on that one. But we also have introduced the first card in the game that allows you to play multiple copies of it, which is a very funny mechanic. And I wish that we would do it in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's cards that we never even actually want to draw. We do want to mill them. So this kind of plays well not just with our own theme but also any other mill strategies. I I think these cards are pretty out there. I can't think of any. I don't think I was saying anything like, oh, this is like X or Y decks, so this is a 5 in novelty. This stuff is pretty fresh. Objectivity. I didn't see any issue with our problem solving card text. And the power levels, these are some good cards, but I don't think that any of these are busted cards, unless I'm missing something. Chat once again. But like Shurgo can get a little out of control, but you have to have gotten 5 of those meteors into the graveyard, first off. And then to get the full effect under the protection of Nordlinger, you have to go to the battle phase first, in which case its attack stats don't really mean anything. So you would have to go to battle, banish 5 with Nordlinger, not use Shurgo's effect, and then wait until a future turn in which you could activate this during main phase 1, but that's a whole turn delay to actually do that. So I don't think it's like it reads really busted, but I don't actually think it's going to be out of control. So I think this is a perfectly serviceable archetype. I think we got a 5 here.
All right.
Versatility. Do these see play in multiple decks? Well, dark decks for sure. We can. I don't know which dark deck specifically, but that's our ties to them because we're not overlapping with any galaxy archetypes at the moment.
Yeah, there is that.
As a dark deck with cards that we want to mill using card effects, cards like Lightsworn also plays really well here. Every time we randomly tip a meteor shower off the top, that's one more in graveyard that we get the effect for, and then that sets all of our banishing effects up. We're all dark, so the light pairs with them to make chaos monsters. Behringer's a level 6, so pair it with any level 4 light monster, and boom, you have a free Chaos Angel. This has potential to work with other cards. A lot of our effects are very specific to us, so it's not a lot of overlap, but I think a 2 is warranted here. There's enough stuff that we can share with other decks that they would like to have these. And then 5 in awesomeness. Every card I looked here, I was like, this is interesting, this is cool, I like the concept. Not only is it fresh, it is a deck building, I would say, restriction in Yu-Gi-Oh! To have so many cards that don't do anything, that require other card effects to actually function. And I think the payoff here makes doing that a fun experience. So I'm giving this a 17 on the Nova scale. I think these are probably my favorite out of the cards that you've presented for the Vanguard-esque Yu-Gi-Oh cards. These are pretty top notch.
Excellent, excellent.
Alrighty.
Well, I'll be sure to bring these things back for a run back at some point in the future.
Oh, Nordlinger 2. Revenge of the Nord Ussie.
Yep.
You can't tell me I'm wrong, okay? You can't. Look at this thing.
Just know that you've spoken this into existence now.
Hey, you know what? I'll take full responsibility for the Eldritch Abomination. That's fine. All right. Well, thank you very much. Take it easy, and I hope you have a wonderful night, okay?
Oh yeah, and before I go,
Uh-huh.
I think we're gonna veer off topic a little bit for next month, and we're just gonna do something a little wild. All right. We're just gonna put a little spoiler right there for you.
Oh, there's a thing.
There's a thing.
There's a thing.
There's
All
a
right, I'm
thing.
unclicking.
Ladies and gentlemen, he was not prepared.
You must be joking me. You aren't really going to introduce that, are you? No. 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 And that's where we cut the episode, and we'll head back later. Alrighty. Thank you once again, Rebel King Lucifer, for another sweet batch of cards. Next up, we've got our last, not presenter, because they have written down that they will not be presenting, but our last batch of cards from Kernulek over on the Discord. Let me go ahead and grab that information, and we will take a look at their creation. Drum roll, please. The Veiled Titans. Oh, I need to fix this a little bit. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Discord, come on, work with us here. Discord, do something. Literally be helpful one time. And we can stretch this out here to cover. Boom, all right. I'll have to move this up here. Close that up. All right, cool. Folks, now we have the Veiled Titans. I have no clue what we're getting into, and I can't wait to see what these are all about. Introducing the Veiled Titans. This is a series of elemental sand spirits that embody the great deserts of the world, who focus on maintaining a balance between the earthly and mythical realms. Ooh, okay. Or mystical, rather. Veiled Titan Tamani is a level 4 wind rock monster with 0 attack and 2200 defense. When this card is summoned, there's a 6 there. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Is it like a typo? That and 6. Maybe it's a typo. Add 1 Veiled Titan card from your deck to your hand. Then, if you have an equal number of rock monsters in your graveyard and your banishment, minimum 1, you can send a Veiled Titan monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use this effect of this card once per turn, and if this card would be sent to the graveyard, you can banish it instead. Ah, a optional replacement effect. So that helps to create that balance. That appears to be what the balance is supposed to be represented in card mechanics. The number of Veiled Titans in the graveyard and the banishment. Though, it does seem like this effect disrupts the balance by putting more into the earthly graveyard, but I'm sure that's only to set up for future effects. Veiled Titan Tabarna is a level 4 wind rock monster with 0 attack and 2200 defense. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing a rock monster from your hand or graveyard. Ooh, that'll help with that. Quick effect: during your opponent's turn, target a monster your opponent controls and have its attack. Then, if you have an equal number of rock monsters in your graveyard and your banishment, minimum 1 each, that monster cannot be used as material for the summon of a monster in the extra deck this turn. If the targeted monster did not declare an attack the turn this effect was activated, destroy it. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn, and if it is sent to the graveyard, you can banish it instead. Okay, so you summon this out, banish a rock monster from either hand or graveyard. Hopefully that helps balance out your graveyard banishment levels. Halves a monster's attack at quick effect speed, mind you. Locks them out of the extra deck if you have balance. And then no matter what, if the targeted monster did not declare an attack this turn, you destroy it. So if you can hit it before the battle phase, it's gone. Okay. Veiled Titan Igbo is a level 7 wind rock effect monster with 0 attack and 3300 defense. You can special summon this card from your hand by returning 2 of your banished rock monsters in the graveyard to the graveyard. If the combined attack of the monsters you control is lower than the combined attack of the monsters your opponent controls, target a monster your opponent controls and destroy it. This is a quick effect if you have an equal number of rock monsters in your grave and your banishment, minimum 1 each. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn, and if this card would be sent to the graveyard, you can banish it instead. Okay, alright. So, this one can shift some rocks into your graveyard if your banishment gets too full. It benefits you for playing a bunch of Veiled Titans because our attack power is 0. And it rewards you by giving you removal, possibly quick effect removal. And I think that's about it. Yeah, okay, so it's just a good card that messes with your opponent. It's just removal. On a 3300 defense body, mind you. Here's hoping we have a way to attack while in defense position, though. Otherwise, we are a little cooked. Veiled Titan Chisura is a level 7 wind rock monster with 0 attack and 3300 defense. You can special summon this card by banishing 2 rock monsters from your graveyard, so it and Igbo work together. When a card or effect is activated that would remove cards from the field as a quick effect, you can negate the activation. Then, if you have an equal number of rock monsters in your grave and or banishment, minimum 1 each, banish that card. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn, and if this card would be sent to the graveyard, you can banish it instead. Okay. So, it has negation specifically for cards that remove other cards from the field. And then banishes it if you have balance. Okay. Great Veiled Titan Ashara is a level 10 wind rock monster with 0 attack and 4400 defense that cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand. If you have an equal number of rock monsters in your grave and your banishment, minimum 2 each. Okay, so you have to actually put some work in for that one. Unaffected by your opponent's card effects. During your opponent's end phase, you can make your opponent send all monsters they did not attack with to the graveyard. If this card leaves the field, you can shuffle up to 2 each of your rock monsters in the graveyard and banishment into your deck. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn, and if this card would be sent to the graveyard, banish it instead. So it's a towers, once we can summon it. Oh, okay, I see where it's going now. We don't have to attack if our opponent is the one doing the attacking. We have giant defensive walls, but if they refuse to engage in battle, we get to remove them for free. Okay, alright. Okay. I dig. Okay, Veiled Titan's Origin Oasis is a field spell card that lets you send a Veiled Titan monster from your field or deck to the graveyard to special summon a Veiled Titan monster from your grave or banishment with a different name from the sent monster. Also, you cannot use rock monsters as material for the summon of a monster in the extra deck, except for rock monsters the turn you activate this effect. You can banish up to 2 Veiled Titan monsters from your graveyard. Then, if the number of rock monsters in your grave and banishment is equal after this effect resolves, draw a card. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. Alright, so this has an up to 2 clause on here, which means that if the difference is either... What is it, 2 or 4? Yeah. So, like, if you have 4 in your graveyard and 6 in your banishment, if you banish 1, now they're both... Yeah, 6 in grave, 4 in banishment. If you banish 1, now they both have 5. If you have 8 in grave and 4 in banishment, you banish 2 out of your graveyard. So we go down by 2, so we're at 6 in graveyard. And then our banishment goes up from 4 to 6 because they added 2 cards. And because it's modular, we can kind of take a peek at that and use it as needed to get that free draw. And it gets you a free Veiled Titan each turn. Not bad. Okay. Oh, here we go. Veiled Titan's Cataclysm is a continuous trap card. Monsters with an original attack of 0 you control gain attack equal to their original defense, but any battle damage they inflict attacking directly is halved. You can return up to 2 of your banished Veiled Titan monsters to your graveyard. Then, if the number of rock monsters in your graveyard and banishment are equal after this effect resolves, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. You can only activate this effect of this card once per turn. You can only control 1 Veiled Titan's Cataclysm. Ooh. Okay, so not what I thought we were getting into. I thought we would have some kind of attack while in defense position situation. Veiled Titan's Cataclysm is now just like, hey, no, we're actually going to physically punch you in the mouth. Which makes the effects that encourage your opponent to attack even more dastardly, because now they're going to actually lose those monsters instead of them just bouncing off of defensive walls. Granted, their direct damage output is halved, but I think that's hardly going to mean much against Ashara, a 4400 beat stick. Doing 2200 minimum on a direct attack is pretty sweet. And then it also swaps your cards around to help maintain balance. That's pretty good for a continuous trap card, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. This is wild. This is kind of wild. Let's go to the Nova scale. I'm curious to see what I think about this moving forward. So, novelty. The Veiled Titans are using Wind Rock as their type and attribute combination, which is very rare. I think the only one that I know of right now is Aroma Jar. That's a Wind Rock monster. So no one called Delilah. She's going to be very upset that her favorite Aroma card is now being supplanted by a bunch of Wind Rock monsters. I'm going to close that window. The Osenju Gates are Wind Rocks. Yeah, but they're pendulums, and pendulums don't deserve rights. So the big idea here is maintaining the graveyard and the banishment in such a way that they're even so that you can get your additional effects. I wonder if there are effects outside of Veiled Titans that allows us to manipulate the graveyard that way. Or even in other rock decks, but I'm not entirely sure. That being said, I gotta give it a 5. I think the concept of these defensive bodies needing to maintain harmony in this regard is pretty sweet. Objectivity. So this is rough. It has effects that don't force your opponent to attack, but does encourage it, and it attacks into your big back row monsters. If we don't have Veiled Titan's Cataclysm, then we don't have a way to actually push for our own damage. I don't doubt that there's ways to make sure the graveyard maintains balance with the banished zone. I just don't know how good they are outside of our Veiled Titans. I still think a 5 is warranted here. I don't see an actual issue with the cards themselves, nor their power level. Like, the payoff for half these things is, like, draw a card or destroy a card, which every deck is doing nowadays. Versatility. I don't know if this plays well with other cards. The Reptite cards and Daigusto Emerald are also usable Windrock monsters. Okay, that's fair. Those are valid. We will count those ones because they're not pendulums. Though funnily enough, Daigusto Emerald takes cards out of our graveyard, so it could help with lining up with our banishment. At least so far as our rock monsters go. But I'm honestly having a hard time thinking of what other decks want to be playing this, right? Like, Adamancipator is the only other rock deck that I can largely think of, and that's only going to summon Tanami into Barna. I think I gotta give it a 1. I just don't think that there's a lot of range that the Veiled Titans have. But for awesomeness, it is a 5. I think that the idea is pretty cash. A couple of extra iterations might also give us some pretty wacky effects, but having these big defensive walls that ask you to play the game in a different way is pretty nifty. It might lead to some unfun play patterns where you value playing passive more than actively bring the game to a close or interacting with the opponent, but with the cards we have now here specifically, I think it's a 5, so I'm giving the Veiled Titans a 16 on the Nova scale. Okay. Alrighty. Folks, that does it for February's custom card reviews, even though we're way into March right now. But don't worry about that. Time is strange and nothing matters. Hey, Nova, I have some questions regarding cards. Shoot, go ahead. Bring it in. I'm an open book. While we're doing that, I think I'll go ahead and handle my outro. Let me go ahead and type in some socials. Socials, there we go. Folks, you can find all of my stuff down below. The Discord is where all of us hang out. It's free to join. There's even a custom card section. It doesn't involve anything here, but if you have the itch to create some stuff and you want to share it and show it off to the community, you're more than willing to do that right now without anything else. YouTube is where I post all of my stuff. This past Friday, we posted probably one of my most successful videos in a long time. Umi Explained. I didn't expect it to be as popular as it is, but a lot of people like talking about the funny fish, so give that a watch if you haven't already. I'm actually in the middle of cutting together that greater polymerization video for the main channel. That should be going out this Wednesday too, so if you were here for that, keep an eye out for that. Twitter is where I usually go live for stuff, if you want to hear my announcements. We're gonna stop that right now so that isn't interrupting us. And ZiggyZ4270, thank you so much for following here on the Orbital platform. I hope you enjoy your time zagging while you're ziggying. Yeah, now I don't announce my going lives or video announcements very often on Twitter right now because Twitter's a hellscape and it doesn't get any reach anyway, and I think people are just annoyed that that's all that I post there. So I'm gonna try and focus on just being less like announcier on Twitter. But if I have anything really important to announce, that's where you're going to find it. And lastly, my Patreon. If you want to be a part of all of this, that's how you do it. This is a gift to my patrons, so if you pledge at $5 or higher, you get access to that. You get access to early videos. You gain access to the patron-only section of the Discord. All kinds of fantastic benefits that you can check out while you're there. In fact, in the next day or two, I'm going to be dropping the schedule for this month, and that's available for patrons of any tier, even the $1 one. So any support you can throw me that way, greatly appreciated, and hopefully you'll enjoy the benefits. Okay, Almento, I'm confused about the origins of the Twilight Ninja monsters. All I can find is that they're the Arc V ninjas. Yeah, there was like I forget what the name of the tournament is, but one of the rival schools is a ninja school, and that's how we got a bunch of those new Twilight ninjas. Twilight Shogun, what is it? Shogun, Chunin, the two Pendulum ones. Those are all from those students. If I remember correctly, some of them actually move on to be Lancers and show up as the series continues. So that's where we get those ninja cards. I think I've seen you from Doom's Twitch. I think I see you as the co-host. Yes, Ziggy, you are specific. You are correct. I co-host with Doom on her channel for Attention Duelists, where we cover Yu-Gi-Oh's latest news every week at Tuesday. So make sure you give her channel a little bit of a follow. They have specific names. Are they based on real people, or are they completely made up? I am pretty sure some of those names are from actual things. Yu-Gi-Oh card database. Also, I'm enjoying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I've been following Doom for years. Heck yeah. Well, I'm glad that we have one of the... I was going to call you a Doomer, but that feels very... That feels very not good. I'm glad you're enjoying Final Fantasy VII. Getsuga sounds familiar. They sound familiar, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were part of something. But I'm not a big ninja historian, so I couldn't tell you. What do you think the Goblin Riders leader sounds like? Well, if it's Gabonga, which I have to assume it's Gabonga because they're the big Xyz monster, they've got big body, tiny head, tiny leg syndrome. So they kind of sit in their big howler monkey motorcycle, and the howler monkey is very often going but the goblin himself, he's all like, "Now, adventurer, you shall feel the wrath of the goblin riders. My faithful steed, attack!" Something like that. It would be about that. I'll make Ninja Pendulum support, but I can't find anything for them. Well, best of luck to you. That is definitely something that they've introduced, but they didn't really explore very much in ninjas. So here's hoping you can find some good inspiration for that. We are only level 3 goblins. We don't drop good loot at all. Do not hit us. I only have 5 hit points. Oh. I wanted to do an impression, but forgot to do it. Alrighty. Okay, so that's my usual thing. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and add this one at the end there. At the end, this is me passing around the hat at the end of the show, as us full-timers tend to do if you have any extra money. And like what we do here, I would very much appreciate it if you would send that to me via tips. Things after February and January are a little weird on YouTube, and most of my money comes directly from ads, and those ads can be pretty fickle, especially as we go into a new year. As always, though, this is just a request from me. I do not want to make anyone who cannot or does not directly finance this feel like they should not be thought of as a little wonderful member of the community, because just being here and being goofy people, even all the lurkers, especially the lurkers, as a career lurker myself, do not think that you do not go unnoticed. Well, I guess the whole point is that you go unnoticed, but don't think that you don't go unappreciated. So thank all of you for being here, because if you're not watching stuff here, then I don't get to do any of this. So thank you all so much. That's all from me. I have done my usual end of stream nonsense. Now we raid. It's time to destroy. And by destroy, I mean, you know, have an okay time, you know. Let's check things out. Who's streaming? You know what? I think who we're going to raid is an associate by the name of Gutter Snipe, which is just a fantastic name, by the way. You can't tell me otherwise. Um, they are a VTuber, a little digital ghost kind of person. They're playing Duel Links right now. A fantastic model. I'm sure you will all agree once we get there. I don't know what they're doing exactly in. Oh no, they're doing Thunder cards in Rush Duel. Okay. So I think you're gonna have a wacky fun time. Fun fact: I watch Gutter Snipe. Oh hell, then you'll know. You will know how cool the Gutter Snipe is. Yeah, they're fantastic. So stick around, give them some love, enjoy your time here on the Twitch, and as always, I will see you next time. Bye bye.
Already opened up a Roa.